I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon.
All right, folks, so this one's pretty interesting. It was recently reported that Amazon would soon be publicly displaying the impact of Trump's tariffs on Amazon customers on its website. In response to this, Trump Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt lost her shit at an early morning White House press briefing and attacked Amazon. And then shortly after that, Amazon publicly denied reports that it was going to do this in the first place, even though that would be perfectly reasonable. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, you would think it's kind of a nothing burger now, given that Amazon bent the knee to Trump once again, but the concept of it's pretty interesting. So let's take a look at the initial reporting and Karoline Leavitt's unhinged response to it.
From Punchbowl News says that Amazon is looking to avoid the blame for raising prices as a result of President Trump's new tariffs. The e-commerce giant will begin displaying how much the tariffs are adding to the price of its good right next to the product's list price. That's something we heard from Volkswagen originally as soon as these tariffs were announced. And I wouldn't be surprised to see lots of retailers kind of show you a line item of what exactly it's costing you because they don't want to be accused of gouging.
And you know they will be.
And they will be.
Yes. We know who will be doing the accusing.
Meantime, let's talk markets ahead.
So that was MAGA host Joe Kernan, by the way, like visibly, we know who's going to be doing the accusing. You're right. Liberals, progressives, Democrats, as well they should. And if the shoe were on the other foot, so would the MAGA cult. And this is entirely self-inflicted. Your dumbass preferred political candidate, Donald Trump, created the circumstance to begin with. And Joe Kernan knows that, which is why he's been complaining about the Trump tariff strategy. But I digress. As the host notes, this would make sense. An itemized list, on any retailer or any business's website or anything to basically display, hey, listen, I'm passing this on to the consumer, but it's not my choice. I'm not trying to price gouge you. Trump is making us do this. Trump is doing this to you. Okay. So that was the initial reporting. And then Karoline Leavitt was asked about it earlier today at the Trump White House during a press briefing. This is what she said.
So it was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China who is going to have to pay for these policies?
I will take this since I just got off the phone with the president about Amazon's announcement. This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing here.
Is Jeff Bezos still a Trump supporter?
Look, I will not speak to the president's relationships with Jeff Bezos, but I will tell you that this is certainly a hostile and political action by Amazon. And Secretary, if you have anything.
So again, hostile and political action for daring to show a federally mandated imposed tariff that will impact consumers. I think it would be brilliant of these companies to do exactly that, right? To avoid the allegations of price gouging and to put blame where it belongs, because Trump's tariffs are going to put them in a really tough position because it will piss off American consumers, and American consumers are not the most in-depth, it's not like we pay attention in an in-depth way to the nuances of politics. So it's entirely possible that Amazon will catch shit for a decision Trump makes. That would have been a brilliant decision. And we'll get to Amazon publicly folding and saying, no, of course we're not going to do that. God, Emperor Trump, no, we won't do that. But Leavitt pitches it as a political attack. How so? To point out the consequences of Trump's unilateral actions on the American people and American businesses? That's an attack? How dare you attack me by pointing out to others what I did to you? That's an attack. And even the example with Biden inflation. Okay, number one, inflation existed as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Supply shocks. That's why inflation was everywhere, not just in the United States, but every other advanced economy on earth under liberal governance and conservative governance. As a matter of fact, the U.S. navigated inflation infinitely better than any other country on earth, thanks to President Biden, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So it's not an apples and oranges comparison in the sense that Biden didn't say, aha, let's raise inflation to however many percent. He didn't sign an executive order demanding that imposing inflation on others. You could say that inflation was an unfortunate consequence of other spending decisions made by Biden and Trump, but that's still not the same. It's pretty stupid and disingenuous of Levitt to say what she said. Now, again, we'll get to the reaction from Amazon in just a second, but economist Robert Wolf says incredible that transparency to the American consumer by Amazon is called a hostile action. It's ridiculous. Thanks to Aaron Rupar for showing this absurd reply. Fox News anchor Dana Perino reacted to this as well. Again, before we found out that Amazon said, no, of course we're not going to do this. God, Emperor Trump, please don't hurt us. So here's Dana Perino's response.
Nothing in concrete.
I thought one of the strongest takeaways was Amazon making a business decision that it was going to be transparent and show the cost of the tariff as an increase to any of the prices that are going up on its site. And Caroline said she had just spoken to the president and that the president and her, this is coming from the White House, that this decision by Amazon was a hostile and political act. We know that the president and Jeff Bezos have become closer.
They're going to show the prices on the
But I do think
website.
business people are making business decisions, and this 100 days is most important on the economy.
Yeah.
So again, even Dana Perino, conservative, MAGA light, former Bush White House press secretary. She's on the Five, constantly defending Trump to Jessica Tarlov. Even she is like, this is a business decision. It makes sense and it's transparent. And indeed, it would have been. Unfortunately, Amazon bent the knee, cowards that they are. They say Amazon denies tariff pricing plan after White House calls it hostile and political. Amazon now denies reports it planned to list how much tariffs increase product prices after White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt slammed the move as hostile and a political act. The reported plan further suggests a growing rift between businesses and Trump, who made aggressive tariffs and global trade wars central to his economic agenda. Trump's massive 145% tariffs on Chinese imports will hit Amazon hard because 60% of its sales come from smaller independent retailers, often heavily reliant on imports. So again, it'd actually be a really smart decision to make, but they're too afraid of Trump. Amazon spokesperson Tim Doyle told Axios in a statement that, quote, while the team that runs our ultra-low-cost Amazon Hall store has considered the idea of listing import charges on certain products, it was, quote, never a consideration for the main Amazon site, and nothing has been implemented by any Amazon properties. Punchbowl reported Tuesday that Amazon would soon show how much of an item's cost is due to tariffs next to the total listed price. CEOs of the nation's biggest retailers, Walmart, Target, and Home Depot, also recently warned Trump his policies could hurt supply chains, empty shelves, and increase prices, according to Axios' Mark Caputo and Ben Berkowitz. That pressure coincided with the White House softening its tone on trade talks with China. Quote, why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration? Well, that's the quote from Caroline Levitt about inflation. She declined to discuss Trump's relationship with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, but reiterated this is certainly a hostile and political action by Amazon. Amazon's signature Prime Day event could see a pullback from sellers who previously offered China-made goods, Reuters have reported. Sellers who spoke with Reuters said that they plan to save inventory this year and sell at a later full price as the cost of importing goods soars. Amazon did not immediately respond to Axios' request for comment, but a spokesperson told Reuters it is having a, quote, strong response from sellers to this year's Prime Days. It's not just the one discounted event that sent sellers scrambling as they move to work production more mildly tariffed markets and temporarily hike prices in the meantime, CNBC reports. Sellers face the difficult decision of passing costs along to customers or shrinking their profits. According to e-commerce software company SmartScout, 900 products on Amazon saw increased prices since April 9th, with an average increase of 29%. Yikes. So there you have it, folks. Again, there was a real opportunity for Amazon to cover its own ass and stick it to Trump because Trump is objectively, unilaterally, single-handedly responsible for this price increase because of these damn tariffs. And instead, they have bent the knee and capitulated. But the notion is still rock solid. And it's interesting to see how Caroline Levitt responding rabidly, viciously. Oh, it's a political attack for telling people what we're doing to you and what we're making you do to them or what we're pushing you to do to them. How dare you transparently articulate the consequences of our actions? How dare you do that? It's pretty pathetic. We'll see what happens because hopefully retailers in the future will actually follow through on things like this and assign the blame where it belongs, lest they suffer the blame and the wrath of the American consumer. So in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.